Hey guys, Tia and Andy here. Welcome to our channel. We're gonna take you behind the scenes of how we basically got started as travel vloggers on YouTube, how long it's taken us to get to where we are today, and what our plans are for the future. So come along.
Tip number 1. Tia, turn into your motivational poster self for a second.
Just be you. I know that sounds super lame, but it's so true, and that is why it's tip number 1 in getting your YouTube channel started. Now, a lot of people are going to look for your videos based on information they're searching for, specific topics. However, what really sells an audience is when you're being yourself. You want to get people to fall in love with you as a person, as well as trust the information that you're giving them.
Right, so that means presenting the information in a succinct way with a lot of backing of evidence, but you know, don't worry if you make you slip up here and there. It doesn't need to be perfect.
If you look at our first videos, you'll notice we're a little bit uptight and stiff. And as we sort of went along, we learned that not everything has to be perfect. There needs to be a human side to the videos you're creating, and just allow that to flow.
So don't edit yourself out of your own videos.
Tip number 2 is to figure out what your niche is. Now, I know a lot of videos probably tell you, figure out a niche, and you're probably wondering, well, how do I actually do that? So we're gonna give you some tips.
A few. You're watching this video, meaning you thought about starting a travel channel, and that's good enough as a starting point. That can be your niche.
Now, where do you go from here? That's when you need to start doing your research. So take a look at other travel channels, both big and small. Take a deeper dive into their content and see what kind of videos they're creating. That will help you make a list of what you're looking for out of your channel. The other part of this, though, is not to just imitate what's already out there. It's really about finding a gap, and that gap is what's gonna help you narrow down your niche.
Right, so this is the exact journey that we had. I came back from visiting my parents last year or 2 years ago, and Tia had this great idea of starting a travel channel because we do travel a lot. We started with imitating lots of big channels and making the same videos, and we were finding that we are not exactly that successful. As we go on, we recognize that we are people who work full-time, and there are not a lot of videos for people like that. So we started branching right into that gap, and that is how we ended up where we are in our niche.
That brings us to tip number 3. Running a YouTube channel is a full-time job, and that's really, really important to understand.
Yes. One of the only things you can control on YouTube is your consistency. And to be consistent, it means you have to work pretty hard. We go to work every morning. We're at work by 7:30 in the morning. Guess when our day ends? It's not 8 hours later, it ends when we go to bed. We come home, we have a quick meal, and we go through this ever lengthening laundry list of YouTube items to go through. All of that so that we can be consistently posting twice a week to 3 times a week and have good quality content. And after that, the results they still roll in slowly. We're only really seeing some results about a year in, but we were seeing consistently better results month after month.
With that being said, it's really important to not get discouraged. Now, it does happen, and we've been there too. We've even had our really down moments where we thought to ourselves, do we want to keep doing this? Is it really worth it? But at the end of the day, we love doing YouTube. We love sharing our experiences, sharing information with everyone, and meeting everyone across the YouTube community. And that's really what's kept us going. So if your growth is really slow or you get stuck in a lull, do not let it get you down. Just continue being consistent, and eventually you'll see your numbers grow.
Tip number 4 is a doozy. It's budget and plan. Okay, you have to be very organized. Like we said, it's a full-time job. So, first of all, being a travel YouTuber, your costs can get quite high. Not only do you have to travel, you also need to have all the supporting equipment, software, and more stuff. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. So we have a yearly YouTube budget, and we have a yearly travel budget. The YouTube budget covers things like equipment. Maybe we need a desk for the studio, or some lights, or
a new camera because somebody dropped it.
Hey! Yes, but all of that adds up, and we stick strictly to our budget that we have set at the beginning of the year. We never go over, and we always just not buy something if we are going to go over our budget. That is the same for our travel budget. So Tia loves to book stuff. And if we didn't have a travel budget, we would book all the things.
Guilty.
But one thing that she does really well is we sit down at the beginning of the year and we plan out our year. We throw a number that is from last year, and then we kind of increase it or decrease it. We get to somewhere that we're both comfortable. And she, when she proposes a trip, she will look at that budget and make sure that she sticks within it, and she's really good about that. And that is how you get your budget under control.
So that brings me to the planning portion of this, because budget and planning do go hand in hand. Now again, planning comes from two perspectives: planning your trips and then planning the content for your YouTube channel. Planning our trips, as Andy mentioned, we plan really far in advance.
Very far.
I swear, in my previous lifetime, I must have been a travel agent, because I look almost daily for travel deals.
You mean almost 3 times a day?
Almost 3 times a day for travel deals. But starting early and figuring out prices to different destinations and different options allows us to actually stay on top of things, and it helps with our budget, because planning really far in advance actually does allow you to save quite a bit of money.
Tia throws together itineraries that are imaginary, just so that we get an idea of how much a trip will cost.
And then from there we tweak, we change things up, see how we can move money around based on what we want to do. Now from a YouTube channel perspective, planning is also incredibly important. And this is something that we also learned, because what we do now for planning is not what we did when we started. So I come from a project management background, it's kind of in my blood, and what we've done with our YouTube channel is taken a project management approach to our planning. We actually plan up to 4 months in advance all of the content that we are going to be putting out, and on what days we're going to put it out on.
And that is a minimum. So we have a calendar that's 4 months
in
long
advance
on our wall, but it doesn't mean that she hasn't already thrown out ideas for videos later than that.
So what we do is we use sticky notes. Sticky notes are really, really fantastic. And when we have a travel destination coming up, we do our research using Google Trends, using YouTube searches to see what trending keywords are, what popular videos are for the destination that we're going to. That then helps us plan what footage we want to make sure we get while we're on our trips. And then it also gives us an idea of what extra items we're going to get that maybe not be on YouTube yet.
Go ahead.
From there, we put each of these video ideas down on sticky notes, and we start to put them on our release dates on a calendar. And this can help us visualize how far out we're gonna have content until.
So one little tip that it took us a little bit of time to realize was very important is that if you are doing it in a pair like this, Tia does a really good job of breaking down each video and giving me an idea of what each of the segments need to be. So that's a great way of keeping you both in sync.
We even take it a step further too. Not only do we figure out what videos we're going to film, we figure out what portions of information are going to go into those videos, especially when we talk about our tips and tricks videos, or you know, information on specific destinations where we need to capture, you know, scenes of certain pieces of information. We plan each of those out before we go on that trip.
And we have found that by doing this, we are able to get about twice as many videos out of a trip as we normally could.
I mean, just this past February, we went to Universal Orlando for 4 days only. It was the shortest trip we've ever done, but we got double the videos out of that because we pre-planned every video that we were looking to get and made notes on the footage that we would want.
And on a travel side, that actually makes it a lot easier. We were able to plan out which days we were going to leave the camera in the hotel room and just go and have fun.
Well, that brings us to tip number 5, which is just go for it and have fun.
Okay, Tia, explain. What do you mean by that?
What do I mean is literally go for it and have fun. Not everything needs to be perfect from the start, and let me tell you, it's not going to be perfect from the start. You will look back at your first videos and literally cringe just like we do. The point is that you keep going, you're having fun with it, and you're learning along the way. I mean, what I used to edit back when we first started versus what I edited now, it's like a whole different playing level.
Yeah, you improve as you go. And kind of to go along with that, don't take it too seriously. Yes, your goal may be to monetize, your goal may be to make some money off of YouTube, but it's not going to come overnight. So don't beat yourself up when something doesn't do well. Take it as a learning experience. We do all the time.
And really make sure, I want to stress it, make sure you're having fun, because if you're not having fun, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's like working a second job that you're not getting paid at.
Yeah.
It's real bad. Well, that brings us to the end of this first video. What did you think? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you want to see more videos like this in our creator series, or even want to see some of our travel videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the post notification bell and give us a big thumbs up. Catch you on the next one.